Welcome back, team. On the journey to transform culture, I got a new sidekick. Well, it's not my sidekick, but close family relative sidekick. We got a new sidekick. Her name is June. It's August, but her name is June. Well, I just thought I'd break the monotony with a little bit of a video this morning and, you know, just check in and maybe hit a subject, touch on a little word potpourri and see what we come up with, huh? What do you think? Well, I'm going to, since we have a puppy here, June, I'm going to talk about loyalty. Loyalty is so important, right? It really is the predictability. It's the puppy obviously hasn't learned to be loyal yet. And if you think about it, as we develop in life, we don't just arrive here loyal, right? There has to be a building of trust and a building of confidence and a building of the predictability of our behavior that eventually, if I can trust, it's just like the trees, right? If I can trust that these trees aren't going to fall over randomly after 3 or 4 or 5 years, right? There's a certain, natural loyalty to the fact that they will stand firm in the winds of change. And if you think about it from that perspective, loyalty has to endure the environment. Loyalty has to, if you think about relationships, it doesn't matter if it's personal or professional. Loyalty has to endure the environment. It has to endure other people. It has to endure, well, especially because we communicate, right? A lot of words flying around, written and otherwise, and spoken. And because of that, there's so much opportunity to erode trust, to, erode loyalty, erode into loyalty. Especially if you find out that somebody isn't loyal to you, whether it be somebody on your team in a relationship, it could be family, it could be, your significant other, whatever. But when that loyalty is eroded or, bitten into, since we're using the puppy analogy, when that loyalty is eroded, one second as this mosquito flies by. Yeah, so when that loyalty is bitten into and trust erodes as well along with it, perhaps even you see it in other things, commitment and so forth, and loyalty starts to fade, right? Loyalty, because why? Because I can't trust the behavior, the constancy of the behavior of somebody's character potentially, right? And that isn't to say we judge and put people in a box and say, oh, you'll never make a mistake that you can't recover from. I mean, I would say just about 99.9% of all mistakes are recoverable. And the ones that aren't recoverable are ones where we do, very serious harm to other people. And, but aside from that, the recoverability to be able to forgive and to grow through, that loyalty thing isn't a straight line. It through that endurance, it's like the tree that's getting pushed by the wind. It has to endure the environment, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't move at all. It has to, you can see the effects. The effects take place. They impact, well, in this case, the natural environment of, say, the wind blowing in the trees also challenges that tree to hold firm, right? The challenge is to hold firm in loyalty. My time in the Air Force, I'm retired Air Force since 2010, before I got into helping small business, manufacturing, and others in the government. But loyalty was a critical, very highly critical element to what we're about, because you have to have loyalty and commitment and trust, all these things, all these very high integrity and accountability, you could say ideologies or states of being and behavior, to be able to not only carry out what we needed to do, to defend, the sovereignty of our country, but at the same time, to be able to take care of one another, right? So some of that comes right back down into the care and maintenance, right? Appreciation, showing genuineness, showing thankfulness to people. And these are things that translate into the civilian, say, workforce. These are things that can get lost. And I think sometimes it's because there's a minimization of all of us. We're minimizing each other because, we're in a domestic world. We're just working for a paycheck, and I'm generalizing, not everybody's working for a paycheck, but I am saying that there is the base level of what we're doing here to survive, right? But you throw that all together and you go, what gets lost? What gets lost is the higher ideals of being as humans. We're losing our higher ideals. And it's not because we want to lose those higher ideals, but I think it's because others kind of let go of the rope, and then others then let go of the rope, and it becomes this back and forth until finally, come here, my little sidekick. Until she's excited. She wants to say something. Hey, June, hey, say something. She's learning. She's like, I'm loyal. I'm loyal to defending this yard. But threw me off track a little bit there, but that's okay. The idea essentially is that our higher ideals and the behaviors behind those, we need to recapture those. We need to hold on to those. Those are important to us. And we can't sacrifice those for, we can't sacrifice those into chaos. Chaos gets us nowhere. Now, does that mean we don't, because I did a transformation video recently, does that mean that we don't transform because we do have to break down and then reforge and then build back up, going through transformative stages of life and growth? It depends on if we're talking about ourselves or organizations or culture, the culture at large. No, we still do those things, but the higher ideals should be the things that remain intact. They're the glue that allows these things to occur. So if I'm going to go from being, very, systematic worker to doing my own creative art business, say, I don't lose the discipline of getting up and going through the process of setting up my, my environment and my workspace and whatever it is. You still keep those things, those foundational things, those higher ideals, loyalty included. You need to be loyal to yourself as well. But that doesn't mean that loyalty to yourself means that we get to discard, or that loyalty to ourselves doesn't give us permission to trample on the path of others. Absolutely not. It just means that we're being loyal to our own heart, right? And to our own intellect, and our ability to be humble comes from a state of having these higher ideals. You don't get to humility unless you've established a more systematic way of being. You just don't, because there is no reason to be humble. There is no understanding of what it means to be humble unless you have been in environments where there was a very disciplined process in place. Even the act of living is a disciplined process, and that can be cast off. And when it is cast off, you are essentially tossing the loyalty to yourself. Why? Because the outcome is part of, you're being loyal to the outcome of your success or your failure, whatever the case may be, because hey, we all get to pick our path. But the loyalty to that journey impacts culture at large. So, in essence, what am I saying? We all need to encourage loyalty to ourselves and to our journey and to each other, because we are all benefactors of the result of that loyalty, right? And loyalty is a currency. There is an energy there. It is an investment. And just the same way you invest care and feeding and training and discipline, but also appreciation into the growth of all developing life forms, right? The same way you make that investment and you have that care, that's a loyalty. Those are acts of loyalty. And in return, this puppy, for example, then also becomes loyal. Um, and partly it's in the nature of our being, and we see this in the animal kingdom, the loyalty to the pride, to the whatever grouping we're using for different animals. I'm not an expert in those terminologies, but I will say that you can see that loyalty, say in puppies and in dogs, start to evolve, where um, they understand that there needs to be a certain protection, a certain boundaries, and animals understand that there are some boundaries where loyalty needs to exist. And then, of course, if you've ever visited somebody and you come into their yard and their dog's barking, and you're like, I don't know if this dog is, if this is this going to be a safe endeavor or not. And then once you get in there, they, smell your hand, and then they become excited. They're like, oh, this is somebody who's friendly. This is somebody who's, also loyal like me. Oh, this is fantastic. And then there begins that growth of loyalty. That is how the bond of all connection should proceed. Now, if I'm a nefarious individual and I come in, and I'm go to somebody's house and I'm, some wily character, and I don't have good intentions, and I come in there and that dog uses its intuition to understand that there's something unsafe about this person, and that is put off, right? Some animals are just naturally always put off, and perhaps the animal kingdom reflects us as well. There's some people who are just always paranoid and always on guard and always distrusting and never loyal, right? So I don't know what came first, the distrust or the loyalty, but there's a choice. At some point, there is a leap of faith, so to speak. Even, you notice it even in the animal kingdom. Does that animal make the leap of faith to say, oh, no, I'm trusting my intuition. This person's good, or this situation's good. I'm good. And the tail's wagging and they're happy. Or to the contrary, what's the choice there? Do I make the choice to choose not to, be? So it's a difficult, sometimes difficult thing to read, and but we can only do the best you can do, right? And it is up to others as well to demonstrate a level of commitment, and trust, and consistency, and the higher ideals as well. And when they do that, then you can say, oh, this is somebody who's, that's trustworthy, and I can see the commitment to what they're doing. They don't have to look perfect or be perfect. We're not talking about perfection. We're talking about, where's their heart? Do they have a loyal heart? Are they committed? Are they, do they have a good skill set? Right, in an organizational setting, do they have this good skill set? Do they follow a base understanding of and flow of communication? And when you see these things start to emerge, you go, oh, hey, okay, great. This is great. They're loyal to the team, and the team's loyal to them now, and they're adopted into the team. And this is how culture, we grow in a healthy way. So just wanted to touch base on that. Talk a little bit about loyalty. I know I threw a stew of other topics in there too, and that's fine. Put in the comments if there's a topic you want me to talk about, and I'll give it my best, right? Hit like, share, and subscribe. Remember, push the good domino 3 to 5 times a day to uplift, motivate, support, encourage other people. And when we do that, not only we're transforming ourselves and our own behaviors, but we're also helping to transform culture to improve. And we want to do that, but we want to do it from the heart. This isn't, this is an arm twisting effort. This is a more of a grassroots, organic way of being that kind of pulls in all elements. If you notice, when I talk about in these videos, we're talking about nature, we're talking about the animal kingdom, we're talking about us as humans, organizationally, personally, in relationships, otherwise. Everything is all one thing. There's very little that separates most all things. So everything is connected, and this is why we talk about it in this way. So remember, when we're doing these things, we're protecting love. And when you're going out there and helping others and uplifting them and doing all those sorts of things, you're protecting love in culture. And when you do that, then that energy is returned to you later on, down the line. And this is also how we build trust and commitment and loyalty, right? Have a wonderful day. Thanks for stopping by. See you next time.